To sell or not to sell? I'm seeing something in the real estate M&A space right now that I haven't witnessed in 35 years. And if you're not paying attention, your competitors are going to seize the market share that should be yours. The other day, I was looking at the front page of the business section of the Toronto Star from July the 5th, 1989. The front page story was the first big M&A that I ever worked on. To say that was a big deal would be an understatement. It created a company of 1,300 agents in 40 offices. I've seen a lot of mergers and acquisitions in the space since that day. And here we are 36 years later, and I can't believe the level of activity that I'm seeing in the M&A space. Sure, everybody likes to talk about the big headline-grabbing deals like Compass buying Anywhere, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about all the franchisees and independents, people who own their own businesses on street corners all over North America. A record number of these people are getting ready to sell, and there are active buyers in the marketplace to help them transition. Here are 4 things that make today's market unlike anything I've seen in the last 35 years. Number 1, the level of activity really is incredible. Not a day goes by without one of our members calling with an acquisition transaction for us to work on, and at the same time, the phones at our mergers and acquisitions practice, Broker VMA, are ringing off the hook with sellers that want to start the process to get their businesses sold. Number 2, acquirers are everyday people. Broker owners like you who have learned that acquisitions are the best way to grow. They have retained firms like ours to coach them through successful strategies to attract candidates. In the past, market acquirers were usually large companies like Anywhere, Compass. That certainly isn't the case today. Just Main Street conversations and mergers and acquisitions. Number 3, creative deal structures are the rage. Let's face it, the transaction count for residential transactions in the market today is at a 35-year low. This puts risk on cash flow and makes funding transactions risky for both buyers and sellers. But creative new mechanisms now make the deal possible and mitigate the risk. Post-acquisition success is at an all-time high as well. The new entities tend to thrive, and the old horror stories we used to hear are almost non-existent. So how do you get started taking advantage of this market trend? There are 3 things that you have to understand. First, you need to understand how to create relationships with potential targets. How do you even get an invitation to the table to start the conversation? Second, you need to understand at least the basics of valuation. This will help you in the deal structure conversation. And last, you need to understand at least the basics of deal structure. If you are weak in any of these areas, make sure you hire a professional to advise you. The first reason transactions fail is that unreasonable deal expectations are created early on. When the transaction gets tough, people call in professionals like our firm, but by then it's too late. Expectations have been set, and it's extremely hard to wind them back. The second most common reasons deals fail is allowing too much time to pass between the initial conversation and the letter of intent, or the LOI, and the close date. I call this deal fatigue. It's not actually that everyone gets tired, but rather people start making more and more demands as time goes on. I don't like to see more than 90 to 120 days pass between the initial conversation, the letter of intent, and the closing day. The third most common reason deals fail is what I call loose lips, or breach of confidentiality. You've all heard that saying that loose lips sink big ships. I have to tell you that I have never had this happen on one of our transactions because of our tight confidentiality process, but I certainly have seen it in other transactions where word leaks out. And when that happens, the transaction is almost always immediately at an end. Number 4, 5 years ago, I was on a speaking tour with some of the top brokers in the United States and Canada. I predicted a generational event, a period that wouldn't occur for another generation, that would present the greatest acquisition opportunities of all time. Well, here we are. My advice to you is don't let your competitors gobble up the market share that's available to you because you don't have a good mergers and acquisitions strategy. If you'd like help putting this into practice, book a free discovery call with our team using the link below. I guarantee you'll walk away with massive value for your brokerage. And if mergers and acquisition strategies like these are valuable to you, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss future videos.